it typically takes so long to make any sort of viable money.
As long as you just love building things, creating things, you somehow need to create a portfolio of whatever you are doing. You need to learn.
If you are spending the majority of your days like looking at the clock, waiting for it to be over, just trying to put in time, I don't think it's possible to be successful in this industry because you have so many people that love it. So I'm interested to hear your transition from building projects for clients to building a company, an agency.
Yes, man. So at the beginning, it was only Alden and me. We worked so much the first year of the agency, like it was 24/7, man. We had our first clients. Cool thing is, we got our first client 15 days after we launched. It gave us enough money just to survive because we didn't have any savings. Me and Alden, we had both quit our jobs, and then we just started working pretty heavily. The first 12 months, we hired the first 2 people. After that, we just created SOPs. It's key that you create SOPs. If you don't have processes that people can follow once they join your team, is how can they replicate what you do? It's impossible. So our documentation is pretty good. Or the way that we communicate, everything has SOPs. Everything, man. How we publish things to staging, how we publish things to production, how we handle branches on weeds, everything that we do has processes. If not, people cannot replicate what we do. And that's the only way that we can start delegating things. We can start leaving the day-to-day tasks out of the projects. And we just train people. We have fantastic leaders in our team. We have Edgar, who is kind of like the owner of the templates in the agency. He's the ones that take care of the building the templates, handling the styles, the designs with the designers. He was also the ones that handles the and checks and makes the FAQ for the Webflow sites for the templates. The same thing with the web apps team. We have Jose, who is the CTO of the agency, and he's the one who is always looking for the other developers, and he's always the one that is organizing tasks for everyone. As well, we also have a project manager that is arranging everything. But the cool thing is, we have a small team. This is the thing, man. Building web apps, it definitely gives you a different cash flow than building web marketing sites. The prices are different. Definitely the complexity is different. The amount of responsibility that you take is different, man, because if a web app stops working for a client, they stop making money. It's key that their website is perfect. Their web app is perfect. So cool thing is you can build retainers. You don't need to find new clients all the time. You can just find one client, man, just one client that it's a medium, large size company in the US or anywhere, but that's the client that you want because yeah, that's what you want because you can offer them a great service. You can be there for them. They will give you good cash flow that allows you to pay to the whole team, allows you to invest on other projects, man. And that's the cool thing about web apps instead of marketing sites. Marketing sites, at least you just build once. You just set up everything for their marketing team, probably internal marketing of the company. And then they will ask you for a few updates here and there, or maybe a rebranding, etc. But it's not like a web app where they pay you retainers month to month, because they depend on the web apps and they want to keep improving things on their products, right? So it's definitely a cool niche, man. Cool niche. I think we were really lucky with certain things, but I think we exposed ourselves to be able to have those opportunities. And yeah, man, we want to keep doing the same, right? That's why we are here, man. Yeah.
That is awesome. I have to say as well, you said 100K in the first year with templates. That's crazy. I was actually going to say, I wanted to ask about kind of like how that revenue curve looked, because that's one thing. I've worked in agency and I've worked in product. Everyone wants to work in product in a big way, as did I when I was working in agency. It seemed a lot more calm, a lot more stable, a lot more predictable, a lot less crazy. But, typically, there are a lot of pros to working in an agency. First things first, fastest to cash flow. I mean, hey, you said you got your first client in 15 days. Nobody launches a product and starts making that much money in 15 days. However much you made from the client. It could have been $1,000. It could have been $100,000. I don't know. But there is no faster way to get money in than like freelancing in agencies, than service work. Typically speaking, a lot of people, they'll launch some sort of product, something like that, template library, whatever it may be. And you have people being like, oh man, I'm not making any money from this that quick. It typically takes so long to make any sort of viable money because look, you have templates there. I was looking. By the way, I want to say, yeah, you said your designer is great. Your designer is phenomenal. I have never seen such a good collection of templates in my life. I'm not just saying that. Everyone go. The link is in the description below to the templates. Nobody told me to say that. They're very nice. But like someone buys a template, that's $80. I mean, look, I've never been to Peru. I don't know what it costs to do anything over there, but like that's maybe I don't know. I lived in Serbia for quite a while. I'm assuming it's similar to Serbia in terms of prices. That's like what you can maybe take like 3 or 4 people out to eat, something like that.
Maybe more,
Like
man. Maybe more.
okay, I got through that. But you know, at the end of the day, that first sale, like when you land, that's money in the bank, unless they're paying you like $20. Whereas when you make that first sale, it's like $80. But that first sale is so exciting with a product. But you got to scale it. You got to make more templates. Like people, I've seen people do that. They'll put like 10 templates, 5 templates on the marketplace, and they're like, why am I not rich yet? Like, no, you need to have like a lot. You might have one that takes off. Look, we sell templates on. I started the template selling thing for MemberStack too, and we've got one template that probably generates like 65% of our template revenue. Like that
Wow.
one specific template, people love it. We have templates that literally have sold once ever in like 2 years. It's just about putting in, putting in, putting in. And so that's why what I think you guys are doing, which is service business drives into cash, invest that service business cash into building a product. That's the way to go because you're combining the quick and, I'm going to say easy. It's not easy working for clients, but relatively easy cash flow, putting that into something that is more long term, more stable, more predictable. So, like, I got to ask, how would you recommend someone who's watching this right now and they don't know if they want to become like a Webflow expert, they don't want to know if they become a designer, they want to build web apps, they are going to use Wiz, they're going to use Claude Code, they don't know. And I struggle with this whenever someone asks me, how do I get into your industry? How would you recommend, and if you don't have an answer, that's fine because I don't have an answer, but how would you recommend someone gets into this industry in this day and age?
Oof. So I would say, you need to fall in love with building things. That's what happens to me. I used to watch tutorials all day, man, about Webflow animations. I loved it. And it drive me crazy. Like at that time, as long as you just love building things, creating things, you somehow need to create a portfolio of whatever you are doing. You need to learn. I wouldn't suggest to open an agency from the start. You need to learn how an agency works. You need to work for someone else. You need to learn about someone that has more experience than you for sure, man. I would never suggest someone to open an agency without expertise. You need to be an expert on something, and the best way that you can learn is working through an agency and learn from others. Like if you're a designer, if you're a website developer, whatever you are doing, I would suggest learn a lot. As you said, even though we haven't finished high school, university, or we don't have any degrees, we have some kind of expertise or knowledge on whatever what we do. So that's what people is looking for. Expertise on somewhere. You need to differentiate yourself out, from others. You need to learn, or you need to put that extra effort. Somehow, man, there was a certain point in your life where you work a lot, man. And even though it was a painful time, you learn a lot out of that. You kind of also learn what you don't want in your life, and that's definitely even more important than what you want. Learn what you don't want. That's what happened to me, man. I didn't want to work for a cell phone company here in Peru. I was making, man, $300 a month. And I knew what I didn't want, no? And that was even more valuable than because at that time I didn't know what I wanted, And so as long as you are aware of what you don't want in your life, and you really focus on something that you think has potential, and you just love it, and then you just find a working for someone else, and you just get experience out of that, I think that's the way to start, man. And then out of there, once you have a valuable skill, even if something happens to you, or you will still be able to sell your time for money. So I think that's the way to start, man. And then just as you said it, man, you bring cash flow, and then you invest that for a long-term business. It's like, as you said it, man, the easy way to bring cash flow to your business is to sell your time, as an agency. People love to, that's the quickest way to bring cash, but definitely, just like you are doing, man, MemberStack is for the long term. or the business that you're running are for the long term, and that's we're trying to do the same here. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. That right there is so true. And nobody knows, like, how do I go about doing that? How do I start? That's a fact. All of this other stuff, first of all, what you said, it's more important to know what you don't want than what you do want. That is an absolute fact. My thing that I didn't want was, I come from Canada. Canada's a great country in a lot of ways. I've got my own beef with Canada, but like, dude, it's so cold. Whenever people are like, why don't you live in Canada? I have numerous reasons for not wanting to live in Canada. But at the end of the day, right now, it's where I come from, minus 25 degrees Celsius. You would literally die if you were outside for like 25 minutes. So, what I didn't want was, I didn't want to be stuck. I didn't want to. I traveled to Europe as a kid. I'm in Italy now. I don't know if I mentioned that. I didn't want to be stuck in Canada. And that was the initial driving factor. You need to understand, if you just don't care and you're just going about life like, meh, then you're never going to be able to build something amazing because you don't have a fire under your ass. Like, I had a fire under my ass looking out the window and seeing that I couldn't go outside because it's so cold. You had one working for $300 a month. Like, you have to have that. And then from there, you have to love it. Because if you don't, you're competing with people who do at the end of the day. And a lot of people think, people will talk to me. It's like, oh, well, it's easy for you. You love what you do. You love what you do. Hey, I didn't grow up as a child thinking I want to build websites and web apps. It's not like I'm an astronaut. It's not like I'm a soccer player. It's a simple professional job. But at the end of the day, I got exposed to it. And then I started trying and doing it. And it went well for me. And I loved it. And I loved getting better at it. It's not that this is my passion that I've been dreaming about since I was 8 years old. It's about, I know what I don't want to do. And then eventually I come across something and realize, hey, I'm good at this. And I love it because I'm good at it. And so that's going to lead to another thing you said. Look, a lot of people, especially like our industry is, I think, centered around the United States more than anywhere. And hustle culture is a big thing there. People who are like bragging about working like 80 hours a week. I'm not like that. I think the dream is to work modestly on something that you care about and you love. Like, I got kids. That's my main focus in life, not work. At the end of the day, you have to love something enough to the point where you're going to work 70, 80 hours in a week and not even notice that happened. Like, you're going to go through that time in your career. I'm doing that right now again. Not because anyone's making me, but because there's so many things going on and building this product that I showed you about. And I'm super excited about it. And I'm just that excited again, like, if you can't be bothered, like if you're staring at the clock, we all have those times. We all have those days. I don't care if you have your own company, you have a job, whatever it may be. You're going to have days where you're like, oh, this day needs to end. But if you are spending the majority of your days like looking at the clock, waiting for it to be over, just trying to put in time, I don't think it's possible to be successful in this industry because you have so many people that love it. And so that, I know this took a big transition. Now we're giving beginners advice, right? But like, for anyone watching this who's interested in that, who cares about that, that's it. If you don't love it, if you don't find yourself like looking, it's like 2 a.m. one night. I'm like, I should probably go to bed, but I just want to build out this one more feature. If you don't feel that way, it's going to be tough. And my recommendation to you is find something that you do feel that way. So, James, not Hamas, I think we're about at time here. And I want to know, for anyone watching this, any final words, anything that you want to shout out?
Oh my God. I guess I want to shout out my business partner, Aldair. I don't think I will be able to still be in this position of having the freedom to be in this call, if it wasn't for that team that he allows us to build, man. He was the one that hired everyone on the team, most of the team, and he's also a person that you should meet for sure. I think that's all I have to say, man. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, well, to the viewers, goodbye, and I want to talk to you again for another minute. So I'm going to stop recording.